after Israel gets rid of the Palestinians, there's going to be nuclear war.
Fast forward 23 years.
Secret agent man, secret agent man. Giving you a number and taking double O dumbass.
In 1994, at the direction of the U.S. government intelligence cabal and the complicity of its media, Bill Hicks faked his death, underwent plastic surgery, and shortly thereafter became the character now known as Alx Jnes. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out, this is the truth. Alx Jnes is a fake, Alx Jnes is a fraud. It's all an act meant to control you. Please watch this video and think about it. One coincidence alone would probably not prove Bill Hicks and Alx Jnes are the same person, but when you necessarily add up the multiple odds of these impossible coincidences, you will reach the inescapable conclusion that Alx Jnes is Bill Hicks. We're not talking about a mere doppelganger here. We're talking about two men who share the same face, same crooked teeth, same best friend, same obscure production company, same Texas location, same interests, etc. Alx is clearly lying about his age, and he has friends who repeatedly joke about the relationship. There's no doubt the implications are frightening. Not only is the leader of the so-called conspiracy theorists a phony, but Bill Hicks could not have pulled off faking his famous death, undergoing plastic surgery, changing his well-known identity without the assistance of the intelligence service and the full knowledge and complicity of the media. As we progress through this 15-point argument, ask yourself this question repeatedly. What are the odds? Alx Jnes and Bill Hicks look very similar. They share the same gait, height, mannerisms, temper, interest, hair part, voices, shoulders, and facial biometric.
You were all their mother, and rats snitch on one another, and sometimes kids get murdered, and so before we go any further on my ends, I mean, this Bill didn't have a dollar, taught material, athlete, scholar, had a PhD, had an MBA, but now he's waiting tables because his rents are paid. Companies downsizing, inflation's rising, can't find a job, he's feeling kind of stressed. Doesn't even feel the effects when he says, got to count how many times they've been blessed. So the ball's off track, starts smoking a crack. And once it hits his brain, starts the chain react. Sells his shirt off his back, shoes off his feet. Losing all his teeth, now he's out in the street. And all of a sudden, he's like Jesse James, trying to stick up his homemade watches and chains. So he's from business school, and he's nervous with the tools. So he ends up on his back in a bloody pool for hands. Some people were robbed, they mother for hands. Rats snitch on one another for hands. Sometimes kids get murdered for hands. So before we go any further on my hands, I mean, the chick ain't savage, she had not struck. The way that I went, she was up in the cut, swinging that butt like lace your hair here. Only rapid men that rock the flock here. Brand name wearing, champagne waving, jewels around the neck, like style she's crazy. Ain't no saving, she's doing no spending. If you do the lending, she'll do the bending. Straight machine bending, it's money protected. Shopping sprees, get up on her knees. Hit her with the keys in your crib, you acting funny. Come home one day, find counting out your money. From the wetlands all the way to the Apollo. If you broke, she's spitting. If you're rich, she might swallow for the hands. Some people will rob their mother for hands. Rats snitch on one another for hands. Sometimes kids get murdered.
Jones has to disguise his voice. He's not detected as Bill Hicks. Looking at these videos, listening to the voices of both Alx Jnes and Bill Hicks when they yell and they scream, you're going to hear it's an exact match. Clear as day. Take a listen. And also, I'll play my previous video that I played a few days ago on my channel. So again, you can see the similarities, facial features, the teeth, the mold.
You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day? You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life? You know what it's like, you sons of bitches?
That gives me carte blanche. I got a gun and a drum. I can do anything I want.
I'm tired of your crap. You You commit evil, you're part of an evil system, and we're standing up against you. And the Republic is going to defeat you in the end.
I want you to go find a fucking soul.
For all the kids you kidnapped for CPS, all you CPS workers, all you corrupt bureaucrats, all of you that have had your way with innocent children over and over again.
Take her fucking out. Take her to somewhere that's good.
Alx Jnes and Bill Hicks share almost the exact same crooked teeth and spacing. By itself, this is almost conclusive evidence that they are indeed the same person. Some have disputed this allegation, but I refer any responsible person to the following photo for comparison, noting there is an approximate 20 years difference. At the very least, the teeth are a very close match. Alx Jnes and Bill Hicks share the same close old friend and co-producer Kevin Booth.
Every day is Halloween. Come to my house and I'll show you what I do. My parents dance every day. They will try to make me go. I would get some religious icons just to keep my life afloat.
Hey, me and Kevin are old friends. This is not good here on air. Hey, we're gonna go back and search something. Is this really a series that I'm trying to block? I'm just giving medical facts here on air, buddy. All right, let's reset. Go to break. Me and Kevin are old friends. This is not good here on air.
So you see him catch himself? Oh my god. Me and Kevin are old friends, and then he caught himself.
Let's reset. Go to break. Me and Kevin are old friends. This is not good here on air. Hey, we're gonna go back and search something. Is this really a series that I'm trying to block?
No, wait. We'll just wait.
Attributes of him. Something that doesn't even get you high, folks. You smoke 50 pounds of it. Blocking that is medical treatment. So we're talking about it. You can't even grow it in America. But everywhere else in the world, we're talking to the cannabis expert, though he himself abstains from it.
He's done.
Kevin Booth. All right, let's just reset and get serious. Okay. Because, like with Gary Webb, the hit teams are on the way. A little bit of gallows humor here straight ahead. I'm Bill Hicks, your host. We'll be right back.
Davidia compound called Standing on a Compound of Fire Ants. We're outside the branch Davidia Camp Carmel branch of the Latter-day Seventh-day Adventist Church breakoff group. What do you feel about this man? There's a lot of confusion out here. It's a lot. He's out there right now, holed up.
2 years later, Alx Jnes staged a confrontation with the supposed FBI agent at Waco. The purpose of this was probably just to add legitimacy to Alx Jnes.
Wow, you're some kind of provocateur. In fact, you're one of those FBI agents, aren't you? I don't give a damn. Oh, you're not going to do anything to me. These people are murderers. These people are murderers. I'm sick and tired of hearing your lies when you machine gun a bunch of men, women, and children. You got a big problem, buddy. You sit over here. I'm not afraid of you guys. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I'm sick of it. You sit over here and you talk about how the children huddle in the corner and how the ammunition that they had is what killed them. All the rest of your garbage. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You don't stand for the Constitution. You stand for zit, not a zero. You have no column of plum. It's false, my friend. Let me tell you, a lot of people are writing down your names. You can follow people around. You can harass people. You can back up your bankster buddies. But a revolution of peaceful information is coming. And when it comes time, you people are going to be brought to punishment. You understand? Just like Nuremberg. Just taking orders doesn't cut it, my friend. You understand me?
I think I've assessed you.
Yeah, oh, you've assessed me. Listen, you can sit there and say some kind of little joke.
We have a very, very special guest. He's going to come out here. He's going to talk to you. Then he's going to bring up Dougie. I am a huge fan of his. It's an honor to bring him up here. Please keep it going for the Lord of Conspiracy, Alx Jnes, everybody.
I feel sorry for you. I mean, you came out here to have a good time. I mean, here's some great comics. I believe you've heard that last guy was absolutely amazing. And Doug's great too. He's a degenerate atheist, but other than that, he's a pretty good guy. No, but seriously, I'm not a comedian. And I've heard a lot of stuff about Iraq, and I've heard some other comments about politics, and let's just go over some basic stuff here for a minute, okay? This is not a drill. This is some serious shit. All right?
Well, I'm reading this poem and it's so profound, and I like its rhythm, and I like its sound. I like everything's poet, no critic can criticize, and then I pause a moment and I start to realize he's telling lies, 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 lies. On Motel TV, I dig the evangelist. He tell you all about that. He tell you all about this. He's preaching of a storm by the Sea of Galilee. He's mixing up the truth with something funny I start to see. He's telling. Lies, 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 lies. Well, I never had this problem with the government. I guess I always figured it never mean what they meant. And God help us all not to be so surprised.
Well, we lay all this out just like we did at the press conference. Now, your question.
I don't know. The Queen of England's my mother. Oh, actually, that'll start a new conspiracy theory. Actually, Bill Hicks is my mother. You know, there's that conspiracy on the internet that I am really Bill Hicks. Yes. No, the government, in an immaculate conception, climbed on top of my mother, and that's how you got Alx Jnes. I am the son of Obama, Bill Hicks. The whole world is a stage, and each of us players upon it. I mean, as Bill Hicks, I know that better than most.
Well,
I'm being sarcastic.
I understand that, and I agree, but today
Now, joining us for the balance of the hour is Kevin Booth. And, folks, he's really here because he was a producer for Bill Hicks. We're just going to go come clean since everybody on the internet's exposed us. We're running scared right now. Folks, I am Bill Hicks. And I joked the other day and said that. People said he accidentally said it. Accidentally just said it again right there.
You are? Right there.
You work for Time Warner Cable?
Right there.
Is that who you work for?
I work for Alx Jnes. Who do you work for?
You work for
I work for InfoWars. INFOWARS.com. It's a website.
InfoWars.com. Okay, that's what I'm asking, so I can tell who you work for.
So they don't like us filming the work they're doing out here. Is that what you're saying?
InfoWars brought to you by Time Warner Cable. CNN is brought to you by Time Warner Cable. So when you watch Alx Jnes debate Piers Morgan on CNN, figure it out. They're both being paid by the same company.
I'm not bragging when I say that when in the 80s, it's late 80s, my mom and dad had multiple discussions. And my dad would say, let's talk about it privately and stuff like that.
with my mom, so I never even heard all of it. He won't talk about it today, where the CIA tried to hire him, because I had some family that did stuff for the CIA, to be inducted in Maryland into literal below-ground bases for a 4-year secret tour. And they were hiring other top dentists that were pioneering implants. My dad pioneered implants and, taught it at medical school and all that. And it was literally, they just said it's cybernetics, it's highly advanced, and he was...
I'm a man without conviction. I'm a man who doesn't know how to sell a contradiction. You come and go. You come and go. Come, chameleon. Come and go. You come and go. Love will be easy because like my dream. Red, gold, and green. Red, gold, and green. And hear your wicked words every day. And you used to be so sweet, I heard you say that my love was an addiction. When with me, I love it strong. When you go.
Oh no. Just waiting for that CP to pop up. Let's pass that up. Yeah, what's the point here? Well, it just they're actors everywhere. They've infiltrated everything. Controlled opposition, controlled narratives, involved in Waco. That's another questionable event. Take time to research it, and you'll find every red flag you can imagine of bullshit. That watch the videos. This so-called shootout with FBI agents, the most famous FBI shootout in American history, captured on video, Waco, Texas. FBI agents shoot out with Davidian. The greatest shootout ever captured, Waco, Texas, with FBI agents. Just purely sensationalized, made for media event.
Government is in control again.
Or I could admire someone who's a better comic than I am.
Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account and my family. This has to be real.
Or I could admire someone who's a better comic than I am.
State power will always win. We'll paint you as a child molester, and we'll paint you as a methamphetamine manufacturer. We'll say any lie we want over our propaganda machine, the mainstream media, and we'll burn you and your children in your home. So you just be apathetic, America. You stay docile, and don't you ever forget, you're free to do what we tell you.
This video will provide irrefutable and immutable proof that Bill Hicks was recruited by the CIA to become the controlled opposition of the mainstream media. Bill Hicks assumed the identity of Alx Jones as he was continuously fed approved intelligence by his CIA handlers in order to create a truth movement of false hope. The information that Agent Hicks was given was for the sole purpose of directing and leading an awakening public to only the partial truths of what the one world government is really up to.
Yes, I mean, if you talk to Alex for any length of time, you discover all kinds of things that you didn't know about the world.
You've blown it wide open.
You have absolutely blown it wide open. But it leaves me with a huge question for you, Alex. You have uncovered the New World Order, which is deadly. It's full of what you call people who are criminals. Well, this is what I'm coming to. It's full of criminals, etc., who seek to run the world and will kill anybody who gets in their way. And you are almost have been a lone crusader powering against them. So how come? How are you still alive? How are you still alive? How are you still alive?
Why am I alive?
Which is the explanation. One, they don't exist. Or two, you're part of the conspiracy.
No, let me tell you a story.
Than we imagine. In fact, that's how I pitched it to the networks. Exactly. I said, I'd like to do a show where I rid the world of all these fevered egos that are tainting our collective unconscious. And the guy at CBS said, will there be? And I said, sure. I don't know. Sure. Boom, a check falls in my lap. And I'm a producer. I never knew it was that easy. All these years I've been trying to write scripts and characters and plots and stories that had meaning. Will there be? Sure. Boom, I'm out. I'm a producer now. Where have you been all our life, boy? We've been looking for you in Hollywood.
In an article at Pennsylvania.com titled Forensic Odontology, Missing and Unidentified Persons, it states, Dental records have been used for over 200 years in this country for the identification of deceased. The teeth are uniquely qualified for identification in many ways, but especially since they are virtually impossible to destroy. They survive fire, decomposition, and submersion in water or earth for many years. This survivability and the fact that most persons have dental records is the key to the success of dental records for the identification of deceased. Even now, with many persons having no dental restorations, the teeth and their surrounding structures provide a myriad of distinct characteristics useful in identification. For the next images, we will be paying special attention to the distinct characteristics of the two top central incisors, the bottom right cuspid, and the bottom right lateral incisor as seen in this diagram. In this first image, we have red arrows pointing to the two top central incisors. We can clearly see the noticeable trademark gap in between the incisors. There was some dental work done to shave them down slightly in order to give a slightly different appearance, but there was no work done to diminish the gap. In the second image, we direct our attention to the bottom right cuspid. In both images, the cuspid protrudes significantly, which causes the bottom right lip to slightly protrude and droop in both images. The image on the left is a little more pronounced because the heavier bottom lip was reduced in size during plastic surgery, and we can clearly see that in the image on the right, the bottom right cuspid has been ever so slightly shaved down. In this last image, we can see that the right lateral incisor sets behind both the bottom right cuspid as well as the bottom right central incisor. Though the appearance of the teeth have been altered slightly through shaving them down, the individual crookedness and displacement of the teeth have remained the same. Next, let's take a look at some other irrefutable forensic evidence into the true identity of Alx Jones. Bill Hicks had many moles, but the most defined mole that he had was below his jaw on the left side of his neck. In the image on the left, you can see where the large mole was located on Bill Hicks, and on the image on the right, you can clearly see a scar where that same mole had been removed. Most of Bill Hicks' moles were removed during plastic surgery, but if you look closely, you will find either scars, blemishes, or smaller freckles that were not removed because they were small and more likely to go unnoticed. There is absolutely no doubt that Bill Hicks knowingly, intentionally, and willfully became a fraud and deceiver of the nations. He willingly chose to become the controlled opposition of the one world government. He has full knowledge that he only reveals the partial truths to his audience in order to keep them distracted from what the one world government is really up to. Their plans, their deceptions, and their crimes are fully revealed at testimonyofthechewitnesses.com. But the forensic evidence does not end with just teeth, moles, marks, like mindsets, and actions. The most damaging evidence to prove that the Alx Jones you know today is not who he says he is. There was another Alx Jones. He was the Alx Jones who was replaced by Agent Bill Hicks. Pay very close attention to the video clips that you are about to watch.
We're sick and tired of it. We stand for this country and we will defend it. The United Nations is a tyrannical, authoritarian propaganda arm and military arm of international control.
Well, you know, I'm mad at myself, and I've said it before, because I do a half-assed job. People say I do a good job on my TV and radio show, and to tell you the truth, I don't. This is such a war, I should be devoted to this 12 hours a day.
In my arms. Yeah, that's Alx Jones, baby. All right, we're talking about some serious issues today. We're talking about how they got us divided. It should not be front page news that Fuzzy Zeller said something racist, even though he's an old, fat racist. Who cares about an old, fat racist that says something about an awesome man, Asian African-American, who's worth probably $100 million? Who cares about words? We're Americans. We're all together in this boat. The man with the plan is here, Jeff Davis. What do you have to say?
Just like you said, Alex, keep the small fish in turmoil so the big fish can rob and rule over.
That's it.
That's the game plan.
That's it.
All of the images that you're about to see came from the videos that you have just viewed, all of which were created in 1997. The image on the left was taken from a video produced on April 24th, 1997. In it, we see a man who appears to be in his mid-20s. The image on the right was also taken from a video produced in 1997. In it, we see a man who appears to be much older, with a completely different nose, different colored hair, and not nearly as lean and physically fit as the individual on the left. His neck is much thicker, as in chubbier, and his overall skull structure appears noticeably different. It is important to note that the individual on the left has a much more prominent brow ridge and well-defined cheekbones. Again, we have a much younger and leaner individual on the left, and an older, thicker individual on the right. Looking at their necks, we see the individual on the left has well-defined neck muscles and a well-defined jawline. The individual on the right does not have well-defined neck muscles or jawline. Also, we have a much clearer image of the hairline, and the individual on the left actually appears to have a noticeably different hairline than the one on the right. The eyebrows and hair are also noticeably different in color, thickness, and texture. Again, we have two completely different individuals. The body builds are completely different, as well as a completely different facial structure. The individual on the right has much darker hair, especially considering that the image was taken outside. The individual on the left is very lean and muscular, and the one on the right, while he may have some muscle build, he is far from lean. It is important to note that at this time, in 1997, Jones would have only been 23 years old. While Bill Hicks spent a lot of time practicing and imitating the person of Alx Jones, certain genetic features were missed during the plastic surgery. So what happened to the first Alx Jones? Was he taken out by the CIA and replaced by Agent Bill Hicks? Was he paid off to disappear and then be replaced by Agent Bill Hicks? Or was the first Alx Jones also a CIA agent, and for whatever reason, he was unable to fulfill his current assignment, so he needed to be replaced? While it is unclear who the first Alx Jones really was or what happened to him, what is clear is that there was a replacement. A replacement who had begun his career as a comedian and is now an actor in a reality show of false hope. He is a quite convincing actor. His true identity is William Melvin Hicks.
Did you see that? Did everyone see that?
It is important for the viewer of this video to know that Bill Hicks is 12 years older than what his character, Alx Jones, claims to be. That being said, let's play a little game. How old is that man? 30 or 42? 32 or 44? 35 or 47? 39 or 51?
Going from a comedian to a journalist was not a difficult transition for Bill Hicks. He had already begun his new journalism career when he went to Waco.
Today is day 7 outside the compound of the now called Mount Carmel Branch Davidian breakaway group of the Latter-day Saints Seventh-day Adventist group, Yahweh Division. Back to you, Tom.
But more than that, Bill Hicks was given a specific role to play, a role that he had also incorporated into his comedy.
My friends, the information that you are about to witness from all of my years of research is the most important. It's been hidden in plain view the entire time. This is the ultimate secret, and it's about to be exposed.
Oh, you know what Bill's doing? He's going for that anti-marketing dollar. That's a good market. He's very smart.
They're already ready for us. If we don't play ball, they'll just turn the economy off. Well, here, we'll just turn you off politically, knowing you're behind it, because this only works, you kleptocratic con men scum, if no one knows that you didn't do it.
Oh, you know what Bill's doing now? He's going for the righteous indignation dollar. That's a big dollar. A lot of people are feeling that indignation. We've done research. Huge market. He's doing a good thing.
You've got to get mad. You've got to get angry. You got to find your humanity, and you got to start kicking some New World Order ass in the info war.
Ooh, the anger dollar. Huge. Huge in times of recession. Giant market. Bill's very bright to do that.
There are a lot of people out there that are literally drinking Kool-Aid with lead, mercury, and arsenic in it under the direction of a charismatic leader with the last name of Jones, who also for quite some time claimed that you could make $1 million a year if you were to convince other people to drink the Kool-Aid as well. No, I'm not talking about Jim Jones from Jonestown in...
As well as a line of gimmicks, such as belt buckles, t-shirts, and more. We are currently living in the worst recession in history. That being said, who has extra money to spend on such products? Hardly anyone who follows and listens to InfoWars has extra money to splurge on such products. And why is that? Because the controlled opposition is specifically designed to target the lower middle class of the American population. It is this lower middle class of people who flock to InfoWars and eat up the partial truths as to how and why their government is keeping them in a state of poverty. Bill Hicks does a very good job at presenting the illusion that his products are rapidly selling.
But those are almost sold out. One is nickel, silver nickel plated, pure bronze, made in the USA. Those are almost completely sold out. We've got some of the straight bronze ones left that I think are just as good. But we've got 500 of each of the new Molon Labe. And when they're gone, they're collectors. That's it. And these will sell out quickly. They're $45.
He uses common marketing statements in order to make the viewer believe that there are only a few products left in stock and that he is really trying to get more.
Look, listen, we're going to keep selling the Survival Shield. It's excellent, the regular. And it's great for kids and things. It's not as strong as this. And I got to be honest, folks, we can't even keep enough of this in.
We have all heard similar statements, especially in regards to his snake oil products. InfoWars has rapidly become nothing more than a very long infomercial.
The most telling way to determine whether or not somebody is controlled opposition is by listening to how the facts are presented. Some facts may only be partially presented, and then some are completely hidden. Often, there are blatant lies presented to the unsuspecting public in order to create a specific reaction.
The war in Chechnya is raging in Grozny with reports of hundreds of thousands dying. 20 to 40,000 civilians trapped in the city. Russian Hinds are being shot down. Tanks are being blown to bits. Massive Grad unguided rocket attacks are being launched on the city indiscriminately right now. Air and artillery bombardments as well. It's absolutely out of control. It is pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. I'll give you the news first on Y2K. The newest developments. The Pennsylvania nuclear plant has been shut down. One of the main systems transferring the power from it failed, but they say it's not a Y2K problem. And the things I'm experiencing here in Austin, Texas, the shelves are empty of water and some gas stations are running out of fuel.
But also, another way to discern a controlled opposition is when you see the person completely change their opinion, story, or recant a previous statement. In fact, it was one particular moment that encouraged us to take a closer look into Alx Jnes, and it was then that we discovered who he really was.
I want you to realize I'm not making this stuff up. Like, I shouldn't even quasi-joke around about Michelle being a tranny. That was wrong. And not that they even attack me for it. End justifies the means. I just get real cynical and in a bad mood sometimes and make sick jokes out of things.
But Bill Hicks was not joking. He was very serious and quite troubled by the revelation of Michelle Obama's true gender. It was obvious that he did not know the truth about this until he saw the video, irrefutable proof that Michelle Obama is a man. Bill Hicks believed that he knew everything, but he completely fell apart on his live broadcast when the revelation of Michelle Obama's true gender became too much for him to contain.
And she always wears these weird fluffy things around her waist. And her shoulders are wide enough to put 3 men's heads on. And of course, you know the classic thing of a male. You could have 3 heads on a male's shoulders and only another head on a woman's shoulder, or 1/2 of a head on each side. That's a well-known thing in anatomy. And I saw an online video that I may air today, and we may look into this, talking about Michelle Obama looking like a man and how they only release photos of her with her hands up, covering her shoulders, or her turned at an angle. And I started looking at it with Joan Rivers saying she's a transvestite. And I've been hearing this for years, and I thought, come on. I know Obama was raised by a transvestite and the rest of it, and I'm not getting into bashing people. That's not my cup of tea. But I started to really last night look at videos of this and look at photos of her in the official White House photo, and she looks like an NBA center. I mean, she looks more like Shaquille O'Neal than a black woman.
The mistake that Bill Hicks made was that he did not check with his CIA handlers before broadcasting his discovery. He even went as far as presenting a special report about Michelle Obama's true gender.
Well, you never know what to expect on the Alx Jnes show. And this morning, the topic came up that Michelle Obama might be a man. I know that might sound ridiculous, but is it? After all, there are many questions surrounding the president's past, and now people are starting to question the sexual orientation of the First Lady. Alx Jnes has a special report on that from our new television studio in Austin, Texas. But first, here's what Joan Rivers had to say to kick the controversy into the mainstream.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Joan Rivers talked about it in the last few days, and it's a big international news story. And look at photos of her in the official White House photo, and she looks like an NBA center. I mean, she looks more like Shaquille O'Neal than a black woman.
The mistake that Bill Hicks made report about Michelle Obama's true gender.
Well, you never know what to expect, but is it? Alex, the mainstream.
Oh my God.
Okay, right there, Joan Rivers.
No.
She's saying that everyone knows that Michelle Obama is a man, transgender. That would make both of her children foster kids, adopted kids, trafficked kids, creations. Joan Rivers, worth an estimated $300 million, massive CBC online show, one of the most famous women comedians in American history, definitely probably the wealthiest. And she's saying that Michelle Obama is a man that everybody knows, transgender. And it just, why do we do this? It's to show you that these politicians, actors, there's actors everywhere. It's very hard to get to, they're controlled opposition, controlled narratives, controlled leaders, controlled high-ranking people that are keyed in. So just keep your eyes and ears open. Again, Joan Rivers dies about just months after this. So imagine the most famous, wealthiest comedian worth an estimated 300 million plus dies of a very simple procedure that 1 in 10,000. She had a 1 in 10,000 chance of dying for this medical procedure. And she just dies, right? It's very routine. It's the chances of death. What are the odds? Is that 1 1,000th, 1 10,000th? That's 1 10,000th of 1%. 1 10,000th, right? 1 in 10,000. So if you can divide a penny into 10,000 little parts, she had one of those chances of dying in a basic medical procedure. But you can imagine that she would always be talked to about this, always wanted poked at. Tell us more about Michelle. Tell us more. Why do you think this? That it could have became a fiasco. Again, Obama, what's his identity? He came out of nowhere. They all share the same similarities, whether it's Alx Jnes, Obama, Biden, the body doubles, the implants, the actors, the plastic surgery. It's everywhere. And that's what this is all about, to break free of that, to know that these things exist, and to basically know that they're all actors, crisis actors, and they don't direct anything. They're ruled over, and they have dictators above them that coordinate their narratives.
Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Joan Rivers talked about it in the last few days, and it's a big international news story. The question is, who is Michelle Obama? Is she really a woman? Is she a man? Every time I look at Michelle or Michael Obama, the first lady or the first tranny, every time I look at them, something doesn't look right. She doesn't look like any black woman or any woman I've ever known. She's got shoulders that are wider than a man's, which physiologically doesn't happen. Again, you can put 3 heads on a man's shoulders and only 2 heads on a woman's shoulders. That's a known anatomy. And then women generally have wider hips than men do. And you look at her arms and the rest of it, when she's standing straight on, she looks like no woman I have ever seen, except for people who have had different chromosomal disorders who choose to be a woman. And I've got the statistics and the numbers right here in front of me. We're seeing more and more of these chromosomal disorders because of all the toxic waste and GMO that's been introduced. One of them is the Klinefelter syndrome, or the double XY, where you basically are part female, part male, and then generally around puberty or even younger, the person needs to choose who they're going to be. But Joan Rivers, obviously, while officiating at a gay wedding, was basically asked about if America would accept this. And she said, well, we already have a gay president and his transvestite wife. For me, this isn't really a laughing matter, because not just the sexuality, but the very genetics of the human species across the board is being manipulated.
Bill Hicks even goes as far as throwing a red herring into his spill about Michelle Obama's true gender by suggesting, even in the special report, that Michelle Obama may have Klinefelter syndrome. Unfortunately for Bill Hicks, his theory has failed him, as Michelle Obama has no symptoms of this genetic disorder. But since Bill Hicks really isn't a true journalist, we are not surprised that he didn't do any research into Klinefelter syndrome. The treatment for Klinefelter syndrome is hormone therapy by increasing the amount of testosterone, because it is testosterone that the man lacks, which causes a male to have more feminine features. It was certainly not Michelle Obama's feminine features that led to the production of irrefutable proof that Michelle Obama is a man. But even if he suggested that Michelle Obama had a female form of Klinefelter syndrome, which is called Turner syndrome, we would have found fallacies in that theory as well. While Klinefelter syndrome causes a man to be tall of stature with feminine features, Turner syndrome causes a woman to be very short of stature with masculine features, and in either case, it would cause infertility. It was then that he was contacted and told to completely recant everything. It wasn't long after making this statement that Joan Rivers had died under suspicious circumstances. And so, what does Bill Hicks do? He presents another special report, recanting his previous statements yet again by stating that he was joking like Joan Rivers.
Some people are going to say that Joan Rivers was killed because she joked around a month ago saying that Obama was gay and that Michelle Obama was a tranny.
You know Michelle is a tranny.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
We joked around about that as well. The mainstream media picked it up as if we were being serious. But I don't think she was killed by the Obama administration by doing that.
As you can clearly see, Bill Hicks was not joking. He was very serious. But things got very serious for him when he was contacted by his CIA handlers and ordered to completely recant his previous statements. And this is controlled opposition.
Here you go, America. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
Bill Hicks was not just a great comedian. He was well informed about what was going on in our society. But instead of just revealing the truth to the people, he made jokes about it. His comedy included the government poisoning our children, abortion, the ignorance of society, people believing that everything is okay, and that there is a power elite of people who own, run, and control everything. It is important to note that it is impossible for someone like Bill Hicks to fake their death without government involvement, as this would be necessary in order to falsify death records. This fact was the clue that led us.
Okay, the death records, the Obama, his Michelle, Michael, he's called him Michael in speeches. He said Michelle, called him Michael, and again, if she's a tranny, those kids, where did those kids come from? Have they been trafficked from foster care? What are the chances of that? Were they trafficked to be COINTELPRO operatives? Because that's what they would be, right? They would be the most famous foster kids, adopted kids, trafficked children in the world. Did they come from another country to be placed with this CIA connection? See, they know everything, okay? That's who puts in Trump. That's who puts in Biden, Hillary, all of them. They all know this. These are controlled actors, all of them. So there's one thing is just know that they're very powerful. They manipulate everything. They control everything. They control the narratives, and that's just what we want to get across.
To realize that there was a direct CIA involvement, as they must know that Bill Hicks assumed the identity of Alx Jnes. Otherwise, they wouldn't be very intelligent, now would they? Apparently, Bill Hicks is not very careful with his words. It is the blatant lies, partial truths, and things that he refuses to speak about on InfoWars that have led many people to discover that he is not who he says he is. In our case, it was when he completely recanted his previous statements regarding Michelle Obama's true gender that encouraged us to take a closer look into the InfoWars deception.
Every time I look at Michelle or Michael Obama, the first lady or the first tranny, every time I look at them, something doesn't look right. She doesn't look like any black woman or any woman I've ever known. She's got shoulders that are wider than a man's, which physiologically doesn't happen. I want you to realize I'm not making this stuff up. Like, I shouldn't even quasi-joke around about Michelle being a tranny. That was wrong. And not that they even attack me for it. End justifies the means. I just get real cynical in a bad mood sometimes and make sick jokes out of things. Some people are going to say that Joan Rivers was killed because she joked around a month ago saying that Obama was gay and that Michelle Obama was a tranny.
No, Michelle is a tranny.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
We joked around about that as well. The mainstream media picked it up as if we were being serious.
There are many people around the world who have caught on to the fact that InfoWars is a controlled opposition front for the one world government. The one world government's plans are in full swing and are rapidly moving forward. Through the mainstream media and controlled oppositions, they are working desperately to keep the public distracted as their plans are unfolding. And what they have planned for you, the viewer of this video, is laid out in its entirety at testimonyofthetoWitnesses.com. But you had better fasten your seatbelt, because the truth can be quite surprising to hear.
I am really Bill Hicks, yes. I am the son of Obama, Bill Hicks. Folks, I am Bill Hicks. I am Bill Hicks.
Maybe the form of chain smoking, hard drinking, truth speaking Bill Hicks is now playing a vitamin pushing, hard cleansing, truth speaking Alx Jnes. The confession of Alx Jnes at the end is maybe another pinnacle of the deception. Again, telling the truth is a comedic act. Shirley High-Tempered for the BBC in Austin, Texas.
The sun, the moon, the stars.
Thank you, Charlie. Let's have a look at this revealing video in which Bill Hicks is not only speaking the truth, but states unequivocally he will be retiring in 1994.
We have one of the finest Texas comedians there is. It's Mr. Bill Hicks.
I have expanded beyond Texas, but I'm from here. So.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Houstonian. Well, that's great. What you just have like this whole music concept going on. You got maybe a rock opera going on behind you.
Well, you know, we did it with this third album, which hasn't been released yet, called Arizona Bay. And Arizona Bay is what will exist when LA falls into the ocean due to a major earthquake. It's an album filled with hope. And the rest of the world looking like Eden. Not realizing the peace that will ensue when those shrieking, idiot, fractured egos are shut up for once and for all. And also, imagine the joy you're going to feel in your heart when you see the cast of Full House being eaten by sharks on CNN over and over again. It's on CNN over and over again. Over and over again. I don't know. I'm wondering how much bull can the world put up with before nature just breaks? How much illusion can the world suffer before nature just snaps in half?
Yeah. It might be happening.
That's why I just make fun of life.
Yeah, yeah. So you're residing in Texas again? Or 2255, whatever way you look at it. And I promise we're not going to censor you for that, man. You can say what you like.
Yeah, I have no evidence. Oh, we are live. There's no way to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. Yeah. So had deemed the material. These are quotation marks. Unsuitable for the viewing public and for the Letterman audience. And I made them be construed as pro-life if you wanted to make that argument. Anyway, they counted that as one of the quote-unquote hot points that I touched on. Here's the punchline. That's right. And actually, we live in the U.S. of A., United States of advertising. Freedom of expression is guaranteed if you've got the money. Okay.
Just for the price.
Jeez, man. I believe that there's this agenda in mainstream media, and I think it's fairly easy to back this up, to keep people stupid, docile, and apathetic, and that the elite who own these corporations and the families that own the corporations, even fewer people, their agenda is to keep us stupid and apathetic. That's why I love public access. for the alleged, here they are again, no proof, no evidence, assassination attempt against George Bush. I was thinking, well, let me think. A frustrated rock guitarist with a messianic complex, armed to the teeth, trying to screw everything in a skirt. I hate to tell you this, he sounds like every one of my friends in Austin.
Everybody out
I don't
there.
mean to be so
that.
talkative, I'm sorry. Man.
Oh, well, you know. They've got tomorrow night to check you out live and in person.
I'm going to be forced by then.
Oh, man. Is there going to be any special appearances? I heard maybe Ruth Buzzy was coming out.
Well, I channel Ruth Buzzy for the older people.
Yeah.
You know me, I aim to please.
Exactly. You hit all those crowds.
I'm a performing monkey boy. You throw up a hoop, I'll jump through it.
Oh, boy. Y'all can see him jumping through hoops at the Laugh Stop tomorrow night, and smoking, I'm sure.
I'm special glasses. I'm sorry, I just did put on special glasses. I'm sorry, I just did mushrooms and burgers about 3 months ago. I had my third eye squeegee.
Is that where you got those glasses in Fredericksburg?
There's a special contact lens you can't see right here. I was going to get it blue, but I thought that was a bit...
Peach is Fredericksburg.
Okay. Yeah. I'm out there tripping with the Germans.
We're going to take a few more calls and get to a video. We'll be back.
Well, that I keep going back for more. Bill, we love you because you're so edgy and hip. But when you come on our show, could you not be that way? And I made the mistake of doing it, thinking that, oh, well, you know, I'll rewrite everything. Or I'd rather be on Dave's show here on Public Access than play to 3 million yahoos who think they're watching something radical or rebellious. Yeah, anyway, that's why this performance at the Laugh Stop will be my last performance in the US of A for at least a year. Will be my last performance.
Wow. Wow.
Whatever that's for.
Bill Hicks, final performance.
You know, I feel kind of dumb because I have retired more times than Sinatra, but this is for real.
You knocking on Ozzy's door now?
I can't go back. I can't do anymore. I don't feel it. Satan left me. He reneged on the deal. Satan left me. He reneged on the deal. It's like Noam Chomsky said, the emperor wears no clothes, but he doesn't like to be pulled in. Those emperors.
It's a good way, yeah.
Rant and E-minor that they're going to be scored with music that I and my producer Kevin Booth write and play, along with drums and other instruments. But
Kevin Booth of Electric Ladies Man fame.
Kevin Booth of Electric Ladies Man fame, and also the Sacred Cow Productions.
Exactly. What a guy.
Right. Kevin and I have been friends since we were 15 years old, and since we were 15, he's been recording me, and he really knows how to record me well.
He's a great producer kind of guy.
Great video. But I'm kind of at peace with myself as well. I don't really care anymore. There are venues and there are avenues, but they are not going to be mainstream. But that's why I love public access. That's why England has opened up for me, and HBO was nice enough not to edit anything except due to time constraints. And I think there's a change coming up, man. You can't put out crap 24 hours because eventually there's going to be chaos in the streets.
He says you can't put out crap, can't put out lies. Eventually everything's going to erupt. Fascinating. Again, Jones and Hicks have the same producer. They both worked with the same guy. This guy says he's been with him 15 years. They happen to be from the same state, Austin, Texas. Both comedians, both at Waco. On and on. Where do we go from here? They were so close. They should have said hi to each other while they were at Waco. Doing actually on site. Hicks is seen there. Jones is seen there. And they have the same producer. I just wanted to go back one more time to this producer guy, Austin, Texas.
You knocking on Ozzy's door now?
I can't go back. I can't do anymore. I don't feel it. Satan left me. He reneged on the deal. Satan left me. He reneged on the deal. It's like Noam Chomsky said, the emperor wears no clothes, but he doesn't like to be pulled in. Those emperors.
It's a good way, yeah.
Rant and E-minor that they're going to be scored with music that I and my producer Kevin Booth write and play, along with drums and other instruments. But
Kevin Booth of Electric Ladies Man fame.
Kevin Booth of Electric Ladies Man fame, and also the Sacred Cow Productions.
Exactly. What a guy.
Right. Kevin and I have been friends since we were 15 years old, and since we were 15, he's been recording me. And
live from the belly of the beast, Joe Rogan. Yeah, Mr. Joe Rogan, Mr. Podcast, a multi-million-dollar important podcast leader. Lots of questions about Joe Rogan, his ultimate experience.
He really knows how to record me well.
He's a great producer kind of guy.
Great video. But I'm kind of at peace with myself as well. I don't really care anymore. There are venues and there are avenues, but they are not going to be mainstream. But that's why I love public access. That's why England has opened up for me, and HBO was nice enough not to edit anything except due to time constraints. And I think there's a change coming up, man. You can't put out crap 24 hours because eventually there's going to be chaos in the streets, which there already is.
Yeah.
Because people are frustrated not having their voice of reason confirmed. And everyone has that voice of reason that goes, this is bull, man. What I'm watching is bull. And yet, the media does not confirm it. So after a while, people begin to think they're safe. And that's the bummer about it. But that's why I love non-mainstream stuff, because you actually hear honest emotions. And that's what you won't hear on mainstream TV ever, is honest emotions.
Well, I think, the media is so...
Why am I yelling at you?
I don't know. I think you're passionate about it. I'm that's always good to see.
Any of the foreign affairs of the U.S. government is at best cynical and completely doubtful that their motives or our motives are anything other than the elite maintaining the status quo. As far as the Palestinians specifically, they were there, they need their land, and Israel is a satellite of this country. We sell them nuclear weapons, and you can just imagine what kind of deal the Palestinians are going to get.
Yeah.
Probably because it's a third world cuisine, and we're entering into the third world here. I sold out. I can't do it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to avert your eyes when you watch that. Oh, Willie. We feel for you, Willie.
IRS.
Singing about burritos.
Let's see there.
I'm making one of the roast after my God, I owe so much money.
So what do you prefer, your bearded motif here, or do you like clean shaven?
I like the beard. I'm going through the Rasputin stage in my life right now. So as long as there's villages and women who can be excited by my goat man, I'm willing to travel.
Goat men with cigarettes.
Goat men with cigarettes.
Thanks for your call.
That's a good question. I mean, look, I'm just cynical about state power, man. I'm sorry. I always will be.
You have to be.
And their propaganda. Exactly.
You have to be.
Okay, cool. They could really be goat boy.
Yeah, sure.
Really? This is how they've tried to control the narrative. And they are the enemy. You don't use that as semantical like it's fun, like we're in the fort fighting pirates when we're 7 years old. We're here in the real fort fighting globalists from deep in the heart of Texas, and we know who they are, the enemy. We're men, we're women, we know what we're up against, and that's what it's all about. Getting your head around the fact that the mainstream media is the enemy.
The real implication is why no mainstream media.
So we should refer to them. We've had this debate for years. It's not crystal clear.
This tells
you can add other verbal names to it and other descriptions. Prostitutes, Decepticons, enemy collaborator media, propaganda, fraudsters, liars, arrogant scum, deceivers, predatory media. This is how they're trying to control the narrative. Propaganda plays a moment. But really, it's the mainstream media. The enemy, CNN. The enemy of the American people. The enemy of humanity, CNN. The enemy of humanity, MSNBC. The enemy of humanity, the Justice Department. The enemy of humanity, the IRS. The enemy of humanity, ISIS. The enemy of humanity. The enemy. And my dad said, we're going.
For the record, let's not mince words. Our very lives depend upon truth. Everybody's talking products, so that's the highest thing you can achieve in our culture. It becomes a partner.
Alx Jnes? Did you hear he funds his operation? He sells T-shirts and books and videos and non-GMO seeds and high-quality water. And then he funds his own operation? That is so evil. It's so shameful. It's like he's a televangelist preacher or something.
I was crucified, and after 3 days I resurrected and waited 2,000 years to return to earth. It's Miller time. What did I say? Somebody all trying to pull back on me. What's it? They're putting music to 8 shirts, putting a drum machine behind them in a metronome beat, and Ted Turner's colorizing. These aren't even really people, man. It's a CIA plot to make you think malls are good. Don't you see?
The devil only knows how to con people and manipulate people because he is a magician. He is a deceiver. He is a fraud. He is a lie. He is not
1/1 what the creator is. To hell with the devil. Straight to the pit with Satan.
Down with Satan in the name of Jesus Christ. Get behind me, Satan.
Down with the devil. Down with the fraud. Get out of the road. Get behind me.
You understand that?
Yeah, we have an army document from they're setting all this up. Nobody cares about that. You know, like only official chemtrail admission.
Get out of my free will.
But it's huge viral story that I'm Bill Hicks.
Humanity.
I'll come clean on you. Doing 10 videos tomorrow. Alex Jones admits it.
It's all coming down. It's all going down. It's the test. We're going through the
I'm
fire,
50
through and beyond. In the emanating contest of liberty, the devil doesn't give you the tells you he gave you God gave you the devil calls you sell your soul to me, and I will give you this. The devil will do nothing but pervert the gifts of the Creator.
We are made, think about that, in the image of the master builder, the supreme architect of the universe. And idiots will go, that's a Masonic. No, the Bible says the heavens are the handiwork, the signature. Of course they are. All of it, this whole creation.
We are made in the image and the likeness in our mind, in our body, in our form of the supreme entity that has built the entire interdimensional system that our minds cannot even begin to imagine. And the devil has a good idea of that. And the devil wants that because the devil is never a maker. The devil is a taker and a twister and a counterfeiter from the beginning and a fraud. With a false light and black sunshine.
I'm a dreamer. I am available for children's parties, by the way. Those of you who have a young'un coming of age don't want to go the traditional clown balloon animal route this year. Could have been worse. Boy, dying was a good career move, man. He skyrocketed, wasn't it? What's he gonna do? Get more unpopular if he lived? Would that have been sad? A real poor Elvis? Torn with Steppenwolf. Wouldn't that have been gross? Thank you. Brand new Chevette, honey. Thank you.
I wish I was Elvis. I wish I was Elvis. I could.
Yes, I am Bill Hicks.
He told me, pal. Just another nail in the coffin proving Alx Jones and Bill Hicks are one and the same. In this video clip, you're going to hear Alx Jones mention Bill Hicks, and he has this big smile on his face. Just mockery, like I pointed out in my previous videos, how they love to mock. I'm going to also play a clip showing Alx Jones changing his voice, altering his voice, just like I showed in my other videos, proving that Bill Hicks alters his voice to play this character of Alx Jones.
I'm here at the legendary Access Studios, where Bill Hicks was interviewed.
He told me, pal.
By Lord Booth. That's where I started out, was here at this building, Access Television, about 9 years ago. This is Melanie Johnson calling from New York. We have got your award here, and we'd like to present it to you at the midterm 2004 World Tiddlywinks Championship. So we'd like to see what you can do with those tiddlywinks. I hear you can, flip them like nobody else in the world possibly can with the same work. We do appreciate you calling us. And remember that Alx Jones is a very dangerous character. So he works over that type of jealousy. Very wicked.
And with this scene right here with Alx Jones at a private party, changing his voice, altering his voice, you can clearly hear and see the Bill Hicks mannerisms come out. 100%, no doubt about it. If you can't see it, you're completely blind.
Yo. Like Kevin Booth, like badass, man. So what do you think about like people saying that Bill Hicks was killed? Like who was saying that? The government got Bill? Bill Hicks probably was killed by Wonder Bread and I thought it was Orange Drink that killed him. You know what Orange Drink? I don't worry about it. Still saying the government killed Bill Hicks. Yeah,
And you heard Orange Drink mentioned as killing Bill Hicks. Of course, Orange is 33 in numerology. 33 is the highest degree in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. It's all an inside joke referring to the Freemasons, those that control this world, are behind the killing of the Bill Hicks character, but he still lives in Alx Jnes. Of RT's Max Kaiser working with Alx Jnes during a radio broadcast. Here's an image of Max Kaiser with RT. Clearly see the Masonic hand sign. Here's Max Kaiser with Alx Jnes. We'll play this clip. Max Kaiser makes a reference to Bill Hicks and Alx Jnes. Just more mockery, same as usual.
If I don't care, put your headphones on so you can talk to the listeners. I am not Bill Hicks. I've never been Bill Hicks. He knows the secret. Okay. Kaiser, stop it. No, not me. I'm not. I am Bill Hicks. Western Indiana, you're on the air.
Keep talking, me, pal. Bill Hicks supposedly passing away in 1994. They say he was 32 years old. Born 1961, supposedly died in 1994. 61 to 94, that is 33 years. Now taking a look at Alx Jnes, supposedly born in 1974 and 41 years old. Now taking a look at this photo of Alx Jnes, does he look like he's 41 to you? No way. This man is in his mid-50s, and it just so happens Bill Hicks would be 54 years old. And that's exactly what you have here, a 54-year-old man standing right in front of you. And I get the same thing over and over. Those that are simply just deceived and can't see the truth. They refuse to see and understand what's right in front of them. They keep saying the same thing over and over again. Well, Alx Jnes is 5'10", and Bill Hicks is 6'1", so there's no way they could be the same person. That's the false information they feed you, so you're going to fall for the lies. Understand, this is Kevin Booth with Bill Hicks at Waco, Texas, back in the 90s. And what do you see? Kevin Booth is approximately 1 inch taller than Bill Hicks. Now look at this more recent photo with Kevin Booth giving an award to Alx Jnes, an image of Bill Hicks, a plaque. How obvious can it be? This is flat out mockery. Now let's take a look at the height.
Again, Hicks said he's known this guy, the producer, since he was 15 years old. Again, the ages are very clear. Jones couldn't have been born in 74. He looks way too old. Again, they both smoke cigarettes, but clearly the age of Alx Jnes does not match a birth of 74. That's very telltale. I'll just rewind that.
Over those that are simply with Alx Jnes during a radio broadcast. Here's an image. Play this clip.
Put your headphones
away in 1994. They say he was 32 years old. Born 1961, supposedly died in 1994. 61 to 94, that is 33 years. Now taking a look at Alx Jnes, supposedly born in 1974 and 41 years old. Now taking a look at this photo of Alx Jnes, does he look like he's 41 to you? No way. This man is in his mid-50s, and it just so happens Bill Hicks would be 54 years old. And that's exactly what you have here, a 54-year-old man standing right in front of you. And I get the same thing over and over. Those that are simply just deceived and can't see the truth. They refuse to see and understand what's right in front of them. They keep saying the same thing over and over again. Well, Alx Jnes is 5'10", and Bill Hicks is 6'1", so there's no way they could be the same person. That's the false information they feed you, so you're going to fall for the lies. Understand, this is Kevin Booth with Bill Hicks at Waco, Texas, back in the 90s. And what do you see? Kevin Booth is approximately 1 inch taller than Bill Hicks. Now look at this more recent photo with Kevin Booth giving an award to Alx Jnes, an image of Bill Hicks, a plaque. How obvious can it be? This is flat out mockery. Now let's take a look at the height of Kevin Booth. He's approximately 1 inch taller than Alx Jnes. Again, Bill Hicks, same height as Alx Jnes. How people can't see this is beyond me. Now I'm going to play my previous video again, proving without a shadow of a doubt that Bill Hicks and Alx Jnes are one and the same. Alx Jnes has to disguise his voice. It is not detected as Bill Hicks. Looking at these videos, listening to the voices of both Alx Jnes and Bill Hicks when they yell and they scream, you're going to hear it's an exact match. Clear as day. Take a listen. And also I'll play my previous video that I played a few days ago on my channel. So again, you can see the similarities, the facial features, the teeth, the moles.
You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day? You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life? You know what it's like? You sons of bitches!
I give me carte blanche! I got a continent drunk! I can do anything I want!
I'm tired of your crap! You commit evil, you're part of an evil system, and we're standing up against you! And the Republic is going to defeat you in the end!
I want you to go find a fucking soul!
For all the kids you kidnapped for CPS, all you CPS workers, all you corrupt bureaucrats, all of you that have had your way with innocent children over and over again.
Take her fucking out! Take her to somewhere that's good!
I covered this topic many times on my old channel. Alx Jnes is nothing but a character played by Bill Hicks, a creation of the so-called elite with Ted Turner owning and controlling InfoWars. And I'll prove that later on in this video with the policeman confronting one of Alx Jnes' employees. The policeman reads off the ID card and it says Time Warner. Of course, CNN is owned and controlled by Time Warner. And that's why you see Alx Jnes frequently on CNN. They're all one and the same, all working together, left and right, divide and conquer. Again, just a character created by Time Warner, basically Ted Turner. And one thing to understand with the name Alx Jnes, just so happens to be 33 in numerology. How clear can it be? And this is why they came up with this fake phony name or this fake phony character. And people keep saying the same thing over and over again. Well, Alx Jnes sounds nothing like Bill Hicks. Simple. People can disguise their voices. He's obviously has that fake voice. You can hear him. This is Alx Jnes. It's fake. Complete garbage voice. Completely manufactured. Bill Hicks is not going to play himself when he's playing the role of Alx Jnes. Understand that. It's so simple. So many deceived people out there that don't get it. Now, with this clip I'm about to play, you're going to hear Alx Jnes admit he's Bill Hicks. And of course, it's mockery. He's telling you the truth in a joking way. This is how the so-called elite and their minions operate. They work off mockery. Take a listen.
Are you rolling? You ready for this? I can't believe it's come to this, but they cornered me. I've got to be honest. It's gotten too big. I've just got to admit it right now. Okay. This is just really hard for me to do. I've been doing this so long, it's hard to give up. Give up on the character and go back to who I really was. You got me.
You told me, pal.
Are you happy now? You bastards? Yes, I am Bill Hicks. Or to be more accurate, you didn't get it all, did you? You didn't get the full conspiracy. I played the character, Bill Hicks, for 15 years with my accomplice, Kevin Booth. And we fooled you all. The master actor, the master genius. And then I decided to bring forward an even more incredible persona, that of Alx Jnes. I carried on the charade for more than 15 years. Kevin, don't mess with me. No, it's Bill Hicks. I carried out the fraud for my accomplice, Kevin Booth. Hold on.
And this is how they love to mock. Just look at Alx Jnes, character Alx Jnes, showing his teeth. For what purpose is he showing his teeth? Nothing but mockery. Look at this canine here, and look at it here. This is an exact match. Look at the front teeth. You can see that gap. See that gap right there. 100% the same person, no doubt about it. And with these side-by-side images of the young Bill Hicks and the older Bill Hicks, you clearly see those two moles, the same exact spot. Believe this is a coincidence? Not a chance. And here's a photo of Bill Hicks as Alx Jnes. He claims he was born in 1974. And of course, this is to throw out the connection with Bill Hicks. Alex Jones, again, nothing but a character. No way this old man is 41 years old. No way. And side by side with Bill Hicks and the character of Alex Jones he plays, with that jaw, how it's a perfect match. The eye droops. Of course, he had a color. His eyebrows, his hair. Same person. You can't see it. You're completely blind. And here's two images of Bill Hicks when he was doing stand-up. So when he was younger, didn't look like Alex Jones as much as he does today. And take a look here. You can see that slow transformation as he ages. You can see clearly looks more like Alex Jones than here. So if you compare this photo of Bill Hicks, Alex Jones, you're not going to see it as much. But again, with age, clearly see it. Of course, devil horns, saying who he is affiliated with, so-called elite, like all the puppets. They throw up the devil horn, just like Bill Hicks does today. They don't say with words, but they show their allegiance with signs and symbols. In this interview with Jerome Corsi, during this broadcast, Jerome Corsi refers to Alex Jones as Bill, referring to Bill Hicks.
Proof of cover-up is the proof of guilt.
Yeah, and we just wrote this ebook, question of eligibility, question of eligibility, under my name, Jerome Corsi, and Mike Zollo, D-U-L-L-O. We lay all this out, just like we did at the press conference. Now, your question.
And going back in time, when Bill Hicks was covering the Waco incident with his friend Kevin Booth, you can clearly see as Bill Hicks ages, he looks more and more like the current Alex Jones. They said this is Kevin Booth, who is Alex Jones' producer today. Now let's look at Bill Hicks today, of course, playing Alex Jones with Kevin Booth. Now listen to this segment. This is from a couple years back. And again, this is how they love to mock. Right in your face.
3 set, got a break. Me and Kevin are old friends. This is not good here on air. Hey.
There you go. Inside joke. People are not going to get it. These two are playing you for fools if you believe them. Now, during this interview, listen to Kevin Booth mention Bill Hicks, talk about how if Bill Hicks was reincarnated, this is another inside joke, mocking the listeners. And Kevin Booth is really talking to Bill Hicks himself. Take a listen.
Doing this, but I've actually also discovered something new, which would be ultimately ironic, and that was who was born only days after Bill died, who would be, in fact, if anybody can guess this during the duration of the show, who was born just a matter of days after Bill died, who would be the actual ironic thing if Bill was to have been reincarnated as somebody.
Oh, and look at that smile. Complete joke, how these people love to mock. This is the satanic way of mockery. One that might not believe in God and the devil, but these people do. It's all about mockery. And if you don't believe it, take a listen to this entire interview with Kevin Booth. He talks about how he likes to put backmasking in his projects. This is the satanic way of doing things in reverse, doing things in opposite. Now I'm going to play a clip from my previous channel showing how Ted Turner owns and controls.
You told me, pal.
Used to own WCW wrestling and understand with pro wrestling, what they do is exactly what they did with Bill Hicks. They repackaged him and they made a character named Alex Jones, just like they did in professional wrestling, where they get many wrestlers and after time they repackage them as new characters. Same exact concept, again, what they did with Alex Jones. One thing else I want to show, how Ted Turner, CNN center, is on the 33rd parallel. Ted Turner, the last name Turner is 33, numerology. This is the 33 Club.
More American servicemen have
are
died
dying now
suicide.
From suicide over there than are dying in combat.
I mean, that's shocking, isn't it?
Well, no, I think it's good.
Right there.
You work for Time Warner Cable?
Right there.
Is that who you work for?
I work for Alx Jnes. Who do you work for?
You work for
I work for InfoWars. INFOWARS.com. It's a website.
InfoWars.com. Okay, that's what I'm asking, so I can know who you work for.
Let's go to Terry in Georgia. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got something for you. We have, of course, the NDAA, which is totally unconstitutional. But they don't follow the Constitution anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The problem that I have is a judge, says, hey, we're not going to. No, this is not constitutional. We're not going to accept this. This is not for the American people. And then their lawyers go around, turn around, and overturn it right away. The problem that we have is that information is at the speed of light. And with that information, like back in 1776, information didn't travel like this. They're spying on everything that we do.
But that's good.
You told me, pal.
Oh, there we go. The Joe Hogan, yes. Joe Hogan. Lots to talk about him. Mr. Experience Man. Mr. Marijuana Investor. Mr. 20 million 5-year contract. Such a powerful, such thought-provoking content. So propaganda staged, doesn't talk about what's important, doesn't talk about shutting down the Fed, doesn't talk about a legitimate voting system, a rigged system. I mean, so anybody that talks about like the truth or what's important or how bad things are and why they are that way, if they're not talking about the Federal Reserve, if they're not talking about the voting system, you know who they work for, period. They have to include the Federal Private Reserve, and they have to include the voting system that's rigged, that are rigged, that we can't get these people out fast enough in a rigged system that your vote doesn't matter. So you can tell a fraud very quickly. Fascinating. They put in Joe. You're seeing it as I see it here. So I do want to get into a thing on Mr. There he is, Hogan's Heroes. Oh, there he is. Yeah, his 666 shirt with that Sultan of Satan. All his tattoos here, they're identifying a satanic shill. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're skewing viewership, skewing the numbers. These people aren't that freaking popular. They're not worth that freaking much. They're puppeteers. That's what everything's skewed. Viewership and what their real value is to be a podcaster. A podcaster, it's is he so a lot of sensational. I just think they're skewing the numbers, the viewership and their actual worth, because what do they really talk about? But typical garbage. They don't try to fix anything, change anything. It's just like chewing bubblegum kind of show. Yeah, questions everything.
And as I've stated many times, the show's running packs. And you see Joe Rogan, Bill Hicks, aka Alx Jnes. People, they go way back. Of course, Joe Rogan was friends with Bill Hicks as well. And of course, here he is together with the character of Alx Jnes. These people are playing you if you believe them. 100% shills. Joe Rogan wouldn't have his spot in the UFC on TV unless he was a shill himself. We need to wake up and realize there are no heroes in the mainstream, the alternative media. They're all playing you for fools.
You told me, pal. So I've been working. So everybody's been talking about Alx Jnes. Actually, Jay gave me.
So I'm going to stop it there. I think I put the link in the comments. You're all being fooled. Why would anyone listen to this nut job? So funny when you look at the threats to this country he has helped inspire. Okay, yeah, what? The threats to the country. Helped inspire. I'm not sure where you're going with that. Alx Jnes pushed far right, lunatic fringe, conspiracy theories, QAnon. But he exposed Sandy Hook, and now he's getting sued by all the family. I don't know. That's the last thing I remember of Alx Jnes. Far right, lunatic fringe, alien meets government, fake news worthy of National Enquirer. He it's good, and he puts good and bad in. Alx does. Let me just put a picture of him while we talk about him. There he goes. He mixes it up when he talks about the evil of the world, bankers. He just calls them bankers. Doesn't say Federal Reserve System. We need to shut it down. We need to abolish it ASAP and call out people in power to do that. The president, Trump, Mr. Genius businessman, everyone thought was there for them, left the world in shambles. But just that, the rigged system, top to bottom, they're all frauds. He'd have a difficulty calling all these people frauds necessarily, maybe, because he is one, if he is Bill Hicks. But the similarities off the charts, from the teeth to the age discrepancy. Ages don't line up. He doesn't look 41 here in this picture. The Waco, his producer, it's off the charts sick. To anyone say that there's not a connection, it's beyond comprehension. So you're completely out of the realm, and to just dispose it. To dispute it. I mean, we already have what, a 75% recognition similarity, 80%. That's extremely high. So extremely high, off the charts. If the possibility that he's as old as they say he is, he can't be born in 74. His hair's a little dyed. It's going gray there a little bit maybe, but his age is a lot older than 41 in this picture. So keep that in mind. It's a two-edged sword. Yeah, lunatic fringe. But yeah, he dances around. He calls out Sandy Hook, and then he's all sued, and then he takes it all back. It's a lot of sensationalism. His own ex, wacko, government brought charges against him. Yeah, entertainment. Yeah. It is what it is, and nothing matters at the end of the day, as long as he has a. He still works. He gets the job done. And so some of the stuff he did one of the best interviews with Nancy Schaefer, which that exists. Talks about CPS. It's fascinating that in this documentary here that he mentions CPS and taking the children, how that's at the highest level of the corruption. He's grabbing things. You evil people, you had your way with children, and CPS taking all the. Those are the top evilest things that are happening in our government is CPS kidnapping, sex trafficking children, and he throws that in there. So we got to take it for what it's worth, but to know that the best, like the theme said, the best way to control to rule the opposition is to control it, controlled opposition, so they can direct it, narrate it. Thank you, Sarah, for your comments. Not sure about the QAnon thing. It's not necessarily a theory. These QAnon things, these are controlled opposition narratives. But QA quack, and how many people really followed QA quack? Really, I mean, and how I want the original Anonymous to come back. Let's get the QAnon. Let's get the original Anon. It's funny how they change names, and then Antifa and what is it, BLM and all that. But it's a good show. You got to admit it. It's a good show. They get away with everything: the naming, the branding, the controlling the opposition, creating chaos. So yeah, it's entertainment. But to just always don't get triggered. To know that we're living in an entertainment world that's controlling the whole destiny of humanity. Through entertainment, try not to take it. It's so oppressive. But at the end of the day, just know that they lose all their power when you call it out. When you call out fake, and if we could start calling all these fake judges, fake politicians, crisis actors, whether they're a judge, crisis actor, social worker, crisis actor, they're acting in roles that are corrupt and tyrannistic. Crisis actor, police officers, how they're man, you want to talk about crisis actor. Oh, when they're trying to arrest one man and 5 cars show up, that they're the kings and queens of crisis acting, law enforcement, of making sensationalizing. Oh, the flashing lights and the sirens, and the people were flailing, they wouldn't stop resisting, all that drama. Man, let's call the cops crisis actors. Let's call social workers crisis actors. Let's call judges crisis actors. Let's call every single politician crisis actor, because at the end of the day, we don't need them, and they're full of shit. All of them, all the politicians, and that's what we want to get across today. They're all nonsense. To break away from the matrix, because you'll never be free if you don't think outside the box. Because trust, they have cages ready for you. Here, will this one suit you? You'll feel comfortable in here. Yeah, have a seat. Yeah, you're a leftist. Okay, you're a rightist. Here's a cage for you. Yeah, we'll bring you some Kool-Aid and some cherry cake in a little bit. But they have cages for minds that they try to put people in, and that's what we're all trying to break here. So keeping that in perspective, crisis actor judges, crisis actor cops, the politicians are all just they're so corrupt. And just because they're playing roles that are corrupt and acting as their public servants. I mean, how much more of a crisis actor can you get? Whether you're a cop, CPS, a judge, a politician claiming to try to public servant, man, call it all out, and it loses all its power. Thank you for watching. CPS News Network. Sign out.